Hey, this is Matt. Welcome back to the channel where I'm going to be talking about synthetic hair implants. What are these? How do they differ between the usual hair transplants? What you can expect in terms of results and also their pros and cons if we compare them to the usual hair transplants. So stay tuned until the end and make sure to like this video right now if you're enjoying these regular updates from me on topics like hair loss and hair transplants. And before we start with the video, this video has been brought to you by GoFiber, which are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure to check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice from them and try them out. See if you like them. Welcome back to the channel once again, where I'm talking about things like hair regrowth, stabilizing your hair loss, and hair transplants. These are the things that I usually discuss. So if it's something relevant to you, you should be already subscribed to my channel and also hit that notification bell as well. So next time I'm going to be discussing these topics, you are going to get notified and you're going to catch your hair loss early and do the best thing possible to manage your hair loss, slow it down, and potentially even regrow your hair. Now, first of all, what are synthetic hair implants? Synthetic hair implants are made of bioavailable polyamide, and at the end of each synthetic hair implant there is a knot which enables the doctor to better anchor that synthetic hair implant underneath your skin, and it's usually being implanted deeper than the grafts during the hair transplant. As far as the history of hair implants, the major evolution took place at the end of 1970s when unfortunately artificial hair treatments were applied without appropriate medical controls, resulting in substandard results from the use of unsuitable materials and technique. The use of dangerous fibers were also linked not only to infection occurring on the implanted tissue where the fibers were implanted, but also potential building of tumors, and that's why it has been suspended by FDA. At the beginning of 1990s, however, there was a new trial in Europe done on artificial hair procedure, and this resulted in the European Union eventually recognizing the artificial hair implant as a legitimate medical treatment in 1995 and outlined the rules related to that procedure. In 1996, biocompatible fibers branded as biofiber produced by Medicap in Italy were approved by the European Union authorities and by the Australian Therapeutic Goods Administration (TGA) as medical devices for hair implant. Now, the pros of synthetic hair implants are the following. Patients obviously don't need to use medication like finasteride or minoxidil, like it's the case with hair transplant patients who still are advised to take medication also not only before, during, but after the hair transplant and many years after hair transplant to prevent the hair loss on their native hair. This brings us to the second advantage, which would be no donor area depletion or no donor area overharvesting risk, because no matter how much hair the patient will lose as a result of not being on any medication, he can still keep on getting more and more synthetic hair implants to implant all of these thinning areas without risking the patchy looking donor area. Another advantage would be also immediate aesthetic results. There is no need to wait for hair to grow because the synthetic hair implants are produced in various lengths like 15 centimeters, 30 and 45 centimeters, which is actually pretty good for women who can achieve like immediate aesthetic results with long hair as well. Obviously, if you are a guy, you can get the shorter length implanted and then you can get a haircut and trim it the way you like to have it trimmed. There is also MHD, which is a specific type of biofiber with triple hair quantity. That means that each implant has 3 hairs, so it can be thought of like a triple graft. That means that each synthetic fiber produces 3 fibers for better density. So far, they only produce single and triple hairs as far as synthetic hair fibers. The single ones are usually transplanted on the hairline, and the triple synthetic hair fibers are usually being implanted on the crown, mid-scalp, and so on. And now let's talk about the disadvantages of using synthetic hair fibers. First of all, it's going to be inflammation. Synthetic hair fibers are now living biologic tissue, and they represent a foreign body. And as a result of that infection, as a result of your body rejecting that artificial, material, which is like anchored in your skin, you will lose that hair. You will lose that synthetic hair. Not only that, but you can also develop infection on your skin. Another disadvantage would be itching after the operation, which can be really severe. It can be way more severe than after hair transplant, and this itching can also cause the implants to fall out prematurely, and that's why there are not only corticosteroids, antibiotics being prescribed to patients, but also prescription of antihistamine drugs that vastly reduce the itching sensations after this procedure. Another disadvantage of synthetic hair fiber would be that the procedures need to be repeated even more frequently than hair transplant procedures, because synthetic hair fibers shed usually like 10 to 20% a year. So if the person gets, let's say, 5,000 synthetic hairs implanted in the scalp, there's going to be like 10 to 20% loss each year. So eventually, maybe after 2 or 3 years, you may already come to like 50% of the original implanted density per square centimeter, and you may want to already refresh that and have more synthetic hair fibers implanted into the scalp. And if we take a look at this study, which has been done on synthetic hair fibers, they were comparing, I believe, around 133 patients. Out of them, there were 95 men and 38 women. And if we take a look at the synthetic fiber loss per year, it seems like a vast majority, maybe 85%, haven't lost more than 10% of these implanted synthetic hair fibers in the first year, and maybe like 10% have lost like 15% of these fibers in first year, and less than probably 5% of these patients have lost 20% of these synthetic fibers in the first year already. And this synthetic fiber loss rate can be then assumed for each and every next year. And although transplanted hair can also lose their thickness, their diameter over time, over multiple years or decades, if patient is not on finasteride, they will rarely fall out in a 10% to 20% rate per year, as it is the case with synthetic hair fibers. So that makes hair transplants a much better solution. And if patients are repeating synthetic hair implant procedures very frequently, or they do many of them over time, more procedures increase cyst formation, increase the occurrence of scarring alopecias like cicatricial alopecia, and also carcinogenity. Patients can also end up with damaged blood supply on the scalp, which can be also a risk for existing hair, which can be still around somewhere in a close proximity of that synthetically implanted hair. This blood supply damage will result in that native hair to be shed or to fall out much faster as it would have otherwise fallen out. Another slight disadvantage could be that there should be a test procedure done, which requires 100 to 500 synthetic hair implants to be implanted on the recipient area, and then wait for about 1 month before a major session is going to be done. Okay, and with major session, they usually do 1,000 to 6,000 synthetic hair implants. They want to wait and put the patient not only on antibiotics, also potentially corticosteroids, because they want to minimize the infection. They want to minimize the amount of synthetic fibers that will be rejected over the 1 month period. And if they see a good response, they will proceed with a major session of usually 1,000 to 6,000 synthetic hair fibers. There's another disadvantage, which would be sebum buildup over time. Obviously, sebum is contributing to that healthy pH, healthy balance between the dry scalp and oily scalp. But the problem is, if the sebum is going to be built up in excessive amounts and is going to accumulate around implanted fibers, and that can obviously cause early fiber loss and also may predispose the patient to a scalp infection. Sebum accumulation, furthermore, can be avoided by gently massaging the scalp with a soft toothbrush during the shower once every 2 weeks according to the patient's scalp, or they can be also easily removed periodically with forceps extraction at the implant clinic. So in conclusion, this all makes like synthetic hair fibers like the least favorable option for hair restoration, in my opinion, that I would be even considering, because they're very fragile, and even if you are not going to get infection, maybe just a mild infection which will be resolved with immediate use of corticosteroids or some antibiotics, they will shed anyways over time, because it's not a biologic tissue and your body will try to reject them sooner or later. If you cannot do hair transplant for whatever reason, I would much rather use hair system, because hair system, you are also using like artificial hair which you glue onto your scalp. You are not, implanting it. You are not anchoring a fake hair into your dermis. That's much more riskier. I would much rather be gluing that fake hair onto my skin. But so I'm not talking just bad things about synthetic hair fibers. Let's take a look at some results, because I think that some of the results would be worth showing you, because they actually can look nice, they can look natural, they can look dense as well. So let's take a look at some of them.
We see Norwood 6 guy on the left, Norwood 6 to Norwood 7 almost, who is gonna end up with a like Norwood 2 hairline just couple hours later. So it's an instant result, what you can see on the left. Now on the right you can see a minor improvement on a patient with diffuse thinning, where doctor added some more density to the frontal third and potentially even mid scalp. On the left you can see a female patient with diffuse thinning with another very nice cosmetic improvement. And on the right we can see synthetic hair implantation on the vertex area, which was also pretty large, and we can see how the doctor was able to cover it up in probably one session only. This is a patient who has done a hair transplant previously, and he decided to add more density, I presume. And yeah, also the temples had been done previously, which weren't done correctly, as you can see on both sides, and his crown was also thinning, so the doctor decided to go ahead with synthetic hair implants, biofiber. And yeah, let's take a look at the result. I think this is the implantation process as well. As I'm saying, Dr. Gupta has very insightful videos and information about synthetic hair implants. So if you are interested, you can check out his channel right here as well on YouTube. So let's see how this result of this patient turned out. So it seems like they did a test of 100 hairs first, as I already mentioned before, and it seems like everything went perfectly fine. So they proceeded with a major session, and here we can see already a final result. They didn't remove the grafts from the temples. I think it's still there, by the way. They just added more density to the frontal hairline and probably even crown. Although I can still see some thinning on the crown, but it already looks more denser and thicker, and the patient is able to style his hair with more volume. The density could have been a little bit better maybe in the hairline, but nonetheless it's a nice cosmetic improvement. Now, this is another pretty extreme result from Dr. Gupta as well, on a patient, on a Norwood, almost Norwood 7 patient with a very large balding area, who decided to undergo 12,000 biofiber hair implantations. And here you can see the before and after result from the front and back, and especially if he slicks that hair back, you just cannot even see the balding vertex. Well, obviously the hair density on the vertex cannot be pretty high, even with 12,000 biofibers, because the balding area would probably require like close to 20,000 grafts or 20,000 implants. But nonetheless, if he slicks that hair back, it actually has a nice density, and also the front looks quite dense to me. I would like to see more, maybe close-up photos of the hairline, but I don't know if it's gonna be possible. Probably it's not gonna be possible, but nonetheless, as far as other close-up results or photos that I was able to find, especially on a ResearchGate, these are a part of some studies. I see also hairlines which are looking very soft. If it's done correctly, it can look really nice. As you can see on the photo above, you can see the before and after result of a patient who has done 1,000 biofiber. It's a young man. And on the photo below, we can see a person with total alopecia who has done 15,000 biofiber implants, but unfortunately we cannot see the after result. We can just see the bald area and the synthetic hair implants which were ready to be implanted. Here it's another nice result of 1500 biofiber, and we can see that the patient had scarring on his corners on both sides, and look at the softness of the corners and also the transition from the temple to the hairline. It just looks very nice, very natural. The density, some guys may say could have been higher, but it does look natural nonetheless. You can also go to the website biofiber.com, where you can find maybe like 5 or 6 results on their main page, and you can also kind of scroll through them. Maybe you can contact the company if you are interested in seeing more results. But you can also see that even if you want to keep your hair shorter, it's possible. You can choose the version of I guess 15 centimeter biofiber, and then it's going to be trimmed after the operation, so you can have your hair shorter as well.
With that being said, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in hair transplantation where using your real hair and you want to educate yourself more about it, make sure you visit my website where you can learn more about it. You can get my free ebook 5 things I wished I had known before my hair transplant. You can check out some of my hair transplant related guides on how to research your hair transplant doctor properly, best hair transplant doctors in Turkey, best hair transplant clinics worldwide, and so on. Check out our free Facebook group, Hair Transplant Experiences, with over 3,300 members in the group as well. There's going to be a link to this in the description below. And if you want to support my channel, just give this video a thumb up right now and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be seeing you soon in another video. Take care.